is a ton of fun when you work as a team, and it's kind of scary and moves a lot slower when you work alone. So high five on all that. Don, if you let me share my screen, and then I did just email you a script that I have, and I'm going to kind of show that to everybody. But guys, when I was new, 24 years old, and I said, hey, what's the easiest thing to sell? They said isotonics and supplements. And I said to them, what? I go, that can't be the easiest thing to sell. And then David White was like, why do you think it would be so hard? I said, I don't know, David. Maybe it's because I've never taken a supplement in my life. I'm 24 and I'm pretty healthy, and I don't know, like, I don't know the first thing about supplements. And he said, well, how about leading with your heart and asking people to fill out a health survey? And I was like, okay. And he's just like, you know, you hand them a health survey and you say, hey, you got a couple minutes to help me out? And they say, sure. And I'm like, hey, I'm helping expand interest in some cutting edge nutraceuticals, and, you know, would love to get your feedback on this health survey. And he's like, you surveyed 10 people, you're going to have 6 or 7 of them who want the product. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a pretty phenomenal ratio. And okay, I'll give it a shot. And I went out and I surveyed 10 people, and 7 of them wanted the products. 7 of them wrote checks for the products, and I didn't even have all the products yet. I hadn't set up my account yet. I had people writing me checks for the products that I was going to deposit as I was setting up my account. So when the product hit my front door, it was already sold. And that's how Trinity and I built our business, you guys. That's anybody who was new, it's like, I'm excited, I want to get started. I'm like, great, pass out 10 of these health surveys, you know, and they'd be like, well, I just want to sign up. And I go, don't work that way. It's a trial run, no decision close. I mean, same thing JR's teaching today. Trin and I have always done that, like, consistently. And I'm not saying that there hasn't been a person or two along the way that we just thought was pretty dynamite, and we might have went after that person and said, hey, you know what? You're pretty incredible at real estate, or you're pretty incredible at this restaurant you run. You basically do what I do anyways. You're just not getting paid a residual income. You really should check out what I'm doing. Occasionally we might go there, you guys, but for the most part, it's evaluate what we're doing. And so it doesn't matter, like evaluating the products, evaluate the health survey. So here's the key. If you take this, so let me show my screen as I coach you guys on this. And I just emailed this to Don, so he'll make sure he uploads this for everybody to be able to download the PDF and have it in front of you. But this is how simple it is. I mean, what did I just say? You know, you're just going to ask them to help you out. And so in today's world, it works the same way. You know, we still have a printed version, but you also have a digital version you can send to people. They can fill it out on their computer, send it back to you, save it, send it back to you. Or, you know, if they're scared of that, it's, you know, just print it then. Print it, fill it out with your pen, take a photo with your cell phone and send it back to me. Either way, all we're doing is collecting data on people. And once you learn about people, first of all, you show you care. Number 2, once we know about people, now I can direct traffic. So I always say, you know, people, you know, what do you do for a living? I'm a surveyor, I'm a surveyor. You know, I survey people and I direct traffic. That's what I do. And in most cases, it's, you know, I like the home shopping list as well, but I'm really trying to get to my wheelhouse, which is nutrition, because that's what I'm really passionate about. So ultimately, you guys, if you collect the data from the people and you ask them to fill it out, hey, can you help me fill it out? You got 5 minutes. This works so well that the only way it won't work is if people are too scared to ask the person for help, which blows my mind. And I'm like, well, if people are too scared to ask somebody to help them out and then fill out a health survey, which is free, doesn't cost them a dime, then how on earth are they going to go talk to somebody about Nutrimetrics or one of our other divisions? That always blows my mind, Don, when somebody's like, I want to do Nutrimetrics, go talk to doctors. I'm like, you can't even sell OPC to your neighbor and you want to go talk to doctors? Like, I mean, come on, man, keep this thing simple, dude. But anyways, the goal here is this. You got to get 10 surveys done. So the key is urgency. And now people are saying, yeah, I'll help fill it out. Then once they fill it out, then, hey, is there any reason you would not be interested in a product that could address something they addressed, you know, they checked off on the top, yes or no? And if the person's like, no, there's no reason. I'm like, awesome. Hey, what I would love to do is get Don on the phone with me, or it can be anybody on your team, you guys, anybody other than you, flip it to them, man. You know, partner up with somebody and say, I'm going to flip them on. Somebody who just knows a little bit more than me, especially if you're newer, somebody just knows a little bit more than you, to jump on the phone and hear what they got to say. Here's the real kicker though. When they fill out the survey and then they say that they would be interested in learning more information, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to feel like you're closing them immediately. It just means you're providing some more education from somebody else let them be the expert from afar in the beginning here. And then the person says, well, I want ABC, you know, I want AB. And here's what's fascinating about this. And I don't think I got into detail about this on the in the training seminar, but I'm going to share a story with you guys that, you know, totally illustrates. Let me scroll down so you can read the rest of this. But Stephanie Cook, she's an energy healer out of Burlington, Iowa. Okay, I think population, you know, 350 people. I think that includes cattle. But anyway, she's new on the team. She's excited, and you know, she's moving some product, but I just can't get her to get traction on the business. And so I said, I'm coming to Iowa, right? And then, you know, you guys all know this is how Don Martin operates too, man. I'm like, all right, I'm coming. We're just going to make it happen, right? So that's what we do. So I'm coming. I'm moving in for a day or two. This is what we're doing, right? So I show up to Iowa, and we booked a home presentation, a business presentation on one night, and then the next night was going to be a product presentation. Okay. Now, let me stop sharing my screen so you guys can see a little bit better. So here's what happens. Let me ask you guys this. So she's an energy healer, but yet I can't get her to lead me to anybody from the business perspective, but she's doing okay, you know, moving a few products, but nothing stellar, just kind of slowly getting the ball going. So which one, you know, one or two? Okay. So number one is, how many of you guys think that she had more people at the home business presentation that I was going to do, which would be option one, or how many of you guys think it was option two? She had more people at the product presentation we were going to do. One or two? What do you guys think?
Two.
Yeah. It's two all day long. She had zero show up to the home business presentation because she had zero confidence in me, zero confidence in herself. And so then she had a little bit of confidence in herself in our isotonics for the product presentation. But I said, hey, we got to use this health survey. And she says, Cullen, I don't need to use this health survey, man. I know this stuff. And I said, not about you. This is about duplication. This is about imprinting. This is about making sure everything you do, Stephanie, is duplicatable. And she says, okay. So I sent her off of Jackie Blasco's website, Don. I sent her, you know, the health survey 101 or the health show health wellness 101, right? The script. I sent it to her. I said, here, study this. This is what we're going to do. I said, we're going to follow the script. We're going to play the videos right on cue. We're going to do everything exactly how this thing works. You're the expert, like super smart. I said, I'm not that smart, but my role is to stand up in front and crack a joke every now and then so everybody don't want to stick a pencil in their eye over this next 40 minutes of their life. It can't be that excruciating. And so we get there and we're ready to, I show up, we're ready to go. And before we're going down in the basement, she says to me, she says, okay, I got to tell you, I got a problem. And I said, okay, what's your, and remember, she's an energy healer, right? I don't know if you guys know what that means, but she works with energy, frequencies, vibrations, all this stuff, right? So she says, well, I don't want to handle the money. And I said, what? She goes, I don't like touching money. I don't want to handle the money. I said, you're money adverse? And she says, well, you know, yeah, kind of. And I said, well, Stephanie, it sounds like you need to see an energy healer about that. so then I turned to her husband, who's like 6'6", and him and I were playing basketball that morning. His name's Tyler. He's like the president of the biggest manufacturing facility in town. I think that employs all 300 people. I look at Tyler and I go, Tyler, are you money adverse? And he goes, no, not at all, man. And I go, great, you're the cashier. You know, we're going to rock this thing out. And so he's like, great. So I'm already problem. But see, these are little things, you guys, that make a big difference. Like if she didn't tell me that up front, it could have killed the whole night. Like I just thought this was easy breezy stuff, but she's scared to death to touch money based on baggage she's holding over her shoulder and bringing to that day because of how she grew up and so forth. We get done giving the presentation. Here's what I'm getting at. There's 2 lines of people, 25 people in her basement, 25 in attendance for that thing. 2 lines of people. Bring your health survey up to the front of the room. We're going to take a look at it and we're going to make a recommendation on what you need to do. So they form 2 lines of people. Now you got to remember, in these 2 lines of people, everybody in, now this is pre-COVID, of course, but everybody in the lines of people are all talking to each other. Right. So they're not paying attention to the front of the line. They're only paying attention to each other, and they're making a friend and they're hanging out and it's all great. They get to the front of the line, they hand me the health survey. And here you go, Cullen. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay, she got this and this, and there's no reason. So you would be excited about getting started today. And they go, absolutely. And I'm like, all right, you need aloe and you need OPC3. And I'm like, here, go see Tyler. And then they go see Tyler. And then the next person comes to the front of the line and I look at their survey and I'm like, oh, you got this. And so I'm like, all right, so and you're ready to get started today? Absolutely. I'm like, all right, you need aloe and you need OPC3. Here, go see Tyler. And then they go see Tyler. And then the third person comes up and I'm like, oh, you got this. And I'm like, all right. Guess what you need? Aloe and OPC3. I'm telling you right now, this is like Trent and I have made millions and millions and millions doing what I just shared with you guys. See, so many people, I mean, don't get me wrong, our product trainings, our product symposium, the people that are real left-brained and need to know every little detail, and all of us right-brainers are waiting for that supplement called, anti-detailitis supplement that still hasn't come out yet, but that would be fascinating also. Anyway, so all of us non-detail people are scared to death because how do I compete with the Dr. Cheryl's of the world and all these people way smarter than me, or Dr. Deidre Mason? I'm like, oh my God, whoa. But I'm like, dude, I can have anybody fill out a health survey and it's going to be one of two answers. It's aloe and OPC3 or aloe a daily essential kit. Based on, do they already take supplements? What's their budget? Remember the consumer quadrant I shared at the training, right? So if there's somebody who's on the right side of the quadrant and they're aware or they're committed, and you know that by asking what they're currently taking, then I'm going to go aloe and daily essential kit. But if they're really money conscious, but they do want to get the results, and I'm going to go aloe OPC, and I let them know you're going to need a bottle of aloe and probably two OPCs in this first 90 days. You need a 90-day commitment, and guys, that for me, it seems simple. We can laugh about it. I like to joke about it because it is that simple, but anybody who makes it more complicated than that, it is not duplicatable. And it does work because that's our foundation. You got to build a solid foundation. A house on sand is going to sink. So the foundation of nutrition, aloe and OPC, we start getting them some results, and then we can add something in. But to me, that's how I did it. And so the health survey, whether it's in a group setting, whether it's sending it to somebody, hey man, you got a couple minutes to help me out? They go, sure. I'm going to email you right now. I'm going to email you a health survey. I'm helping expand interest, cutting edge nutraceuticals. I mean, I just said this over and over again until it was just like off the tip of my tongue, but I'd still have it in front of me because emotions go up, intelligence go down. I need that script there so I don't go off on some rabbit trail with my ADD that I got.
Right.
But anyways, guys, so Stephanie Cook that night, we sold $2,500 worth of product that night. And the next day she sold another 1,000 in the follow-up. We ran out of product. And that's a good problem to have. If you run out, good. Run out. I mean, have some, because you got to have some. You got to believe we're going to make some sales because it's an energy thing, right? Stephanie Cook, energy healer. Anyway, so, but then we got to give energy to, like, we ran out. So sorry, man, but we're going to get you an order. We'll get it to you. Now today with COVID and everything going on, it's like, you got to show people you care. And what I've learned, Don, is that when people have an issue, they're like, well, I'm just going to talk to my friend about it, or somebody with Stephanie's background, somebody who's got a health professional, nurse practitioner background, somebody who's really smart, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong. You guys are a huge asset to the team. I'm not downplaying it all, but I'm saying when you go simple and people say, I can do what you're doing, those are the people come back and say, tell me more about your business. I think I can do what you just did. And the more you try to customize it, the more that they go, shit, I can't. I'm never going to ask you what you do because I can't do what you just did. See, so it's a double-edged sword.
Do you customize anything to bring that? So when do you bring from a business perspective up? Obviously, in the Wellness 101 video that you said you get played, obviously, it talks about that. Do you have a particular time that you bring it up? Is it after they give a referral? Is it, or is it a feel for you?
So it depends how we're making the approach. So if you guys are approaching people that it's more of a retail to recruit, where I want to focus on a health survey, a skincare survey, or something where I want to learn about somebody based on me learning about them and saying, hey, based on what I see here, what I'd recommend is this, that approach. Okay. Then I'm going to stick to product approach initially, cause I'm going to stair step them. But Trent and I did build our business, guys, by showing the business, by evaluation, and we get them to evaluate. I want to plant some seeds of what makes us different, because what we learned is, if I just went strictly product with people, and even when I got them results, they were people that'd be like, all right, I used to really take a look at my business. No, I already know what it is. They would jump to a conclusion, right? That's an illusion. And so I'd have to, then I'm just kind of like, all right, well then they'll just stay a customer. It's all good. But see, if I planted a few seeds of what makes us unique, then get them to fill out the health survey as a tool that I'm using right now at the end of my appointment, okay, to get more information from them, sell them on a product. Now I already planted a seed about horizontal vertical at least, or something. And again, that can just be talking in themes, or it don't have to be the whole plan, guys. But I'm still planting some seeds to where Eric Giroux is a great example. Some of you guys on the line may know him. He's one of my buddies I grew up playing Little League baseball with. Was in a car accident in '07, and so he's a C5 quadriplegic, all because of a semi tire tread coming off of a semi in front of him. He swerved to miss it, and yeah, it was a mess. So it changed his life forever. But he was a guy that as I started talking to him, I was strictly focused on product initially, because that's where I felt like he needed to go, because he was on a whole bunch of medications. He felt like crap. He's got bed sores that hadn't healed in 5 years. I'm like, dude, I got to help this guy. And all he wanted to see was the business, because he was the right guy to see the business. And I'm like trying to talk to him about the health survey and get him to fill this thing out with his caregiver and then send it back to me, because he was in Florida, I'm Illinois back then, a couple years back. And, but it led to the business. And so then he's like, dude, show me this plan, you know? And so I'm a fan of evaluate what we're doing and what we're up to, but then leading them to the division that I'm passionate about, especially if there's somebody who would have an interest in nutrition, because that's my wheelhouse. I don't have to know anything about the other divisions other than I always say I need to know enough to be deadly, which is why, you know, regional conventions and districts and the big events are important, because you get enough about each division to be deadly, but not have to be the expert, right? That's me for sure, you know. Did that answer your question, what you're saying, Don? Is that what you were asking?
It definitely did. So let's say you start with a customer. So on this, I'll rephrase too. So it answered half of it. So the other half, because I'm getting some text from people, so I'm just kind of addressing things that I think is really relevant. This is one. So when you start with the product, you create a customer. Do you do anything from an incentive purpose to get them to lead to more customers, right? That's number one. And then number two is, when does the business become a part of that conversation when they start leading the customers?
Okay, there you go. Great question. So when I'm doing the survey with them and I'm 100% focused on getting them results, and then I'm getting them started and they're already anticipating that, you know, the ALO and OPC, we're going to swing. I always talk to people about swinging the pendulum from, you know, sickness to wellness, from surviving to thriving. And it doesn't matter if I'm talking about products or our business. You know, I'm always talking about, we got to swing your pendulum, man. We got to get this thing going this way, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, when I'm talking to them about that, and then I'm planting the seeds of the vision of the results they're about to receive, then I will say, so who else do you know that we could help with this survey? I noticed you left the friends and, you know, family category empty. And they say, oh, what? No, I know some people here. I'm going to ask them, because in many cases they were just thinking of themselves. And even though I told them, hey, you know, who else do you know? They were more focused on them. But then they'll go back and they'll start filling it out, because now I built a little bit more trust with them in regards to products. But they could come back and they could say, I say, all right, well, great. Well, I would love to you to introduce me to just, you know, a couple of these people. I mean, you wrote down 10 names, you know, how about we talk to one or two? Who are the ones you love the most? We'll forget about the rest for now. And then I'll crack a joke. I mean, the more you joke with people, the more they love you, the more they're like, all right, I like you. He's kind of funny. He's not so serious. See, when you get really serious, like, we are the unfranchised and we have Nutrimetrics, and, you know, people are like, dude, man, quit giving your chair a hickey and relax a little, bro. Because at the end of the day, like, you are too intense. And like, as much as I like you, this business, and I don't want to join the military, dude. So you have to just say, okay, if I stair step it, and then what if the person gives me no names? And they say, okay, well, there's no names on here. And I say, well, who else do you know we could get results? And then what are they going to say? Well, why don't I try the products first? And then when I get results, I'll lead you to some people. And I said, you know what? I was kind of thinking the same thing. Why don't we just do that? See, so, but if you don't ask for number one, which is lead me to the people, they're not going to offer it. Hey, why don't I just lead you to the people, Don? No, they're not going to say that, you know. But if I ask this, and even if I notice there's a hint of them being uncomfortable or not, you know, they want to know it's going to work for them. You can tell by body language in many cases, right? They kind of pause for a minute. If I see a pause or any kind of indication that I think they're going to plan B for them, or plan 2, which is, you know, let me get results first, I'll kind of like stop myself and I'll say, you know what, I'll tell you what, don't worry about that right now. Let's just get you results. And then after I get you results, then will you lead me to some of these other people that you really love and care about? And then they go, oh, absolutely. And I said, that sounds like a fantastic plan. High five on that one, you know, and I'll high five people, you know, I'm like, high five, come on, man, let's do this thing. You know, they're like, he is nuts. He is certifiably not, you know, and it reminded me of my rich dad. Like I was sharing with you guys, I didn't get into detail about Mr. McCartney, this guy that changed my life when I was in high school, but I'd go to his house every day, and he's the one, Don, I don't know if you know the story, but like, he's the one who nicknamed me Happy Haskins in high school, freshman year, playing baseball. I come over to the house and be like, Happy Haskins, and I'd be like, face full of acne. I don't understand why people are cool to me other than I guess I'm good at sports. And so I'm kind of popular and, you know, kind of just going through life. But I got this Mr. McCartney, my rich dad down the street, pouring into me, always positive, always excited. Give me a high five, happy, high five, dude. Come on, happy. People think I made the brand up or something. Like Cullen branded himself happy. No, I didn't. Mr. McCartney did. Freshman year of high school, trying to get me to believe more in me, right? I didn't get it at the time totally. A little bit I got, but I didn't totally get it. But the whole point is this. All I wanted to do was be like him when I grew up. And I found Market America, and I go, oh my gosh, here's a guy, Dennis Franks. He took the stage. I was like, look at that guy. I'm like, that's Mr. McCartney. Yeah. And then all of a sudden Dennis or Kevin went up there. And I'm like, well, that's kind of Mr. McCartney. He's freaking really serious, man. Chill out, dude. But I still loved him. I love a little intensity, you know. And then I see JR, and he's sweating through his shirt, and he's falling over on the stage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Mr. McCartney. See, that's why I loved Market America, because it was an extension of somebody else that I loved who played a major role in my life of lifted me up and making me think bigger. So I think to myself, it don't matter if I'm coaching baseball, basketball, don't matter if I'm coaching people in Market America, or I just meet a new client that filled out a health survey. I'm like, how can I make their day better? How can I high five them? How can I, you know, give them a hug? How can I say, you know what, listen, I got you. You know, and people are looking for that, man. They're looking for you to be the leader, which means just somebody that has some vision, has some passion, has some excitement. And man, you're a breath of fresh air. That's the best compliment you can get from people, you know?
No doubt about it, man. That was awesome. Guys, you can throw me a text, or if anybody has anything else, just text me a couple of things. But that was amazing. So after they start leading, so once they start leading the people, and obviously they're recommending some customers, is there a time or what do you say to convert it? You see, wow, this guy's led to a few people. What's your transition into business mode from there?
Well, listen, you're already, it's the same thing I would do for a prospect who's brand new. You know, if I didn't know you, Don, and you and I just met and we were out on a job or something like that, and I'm just like, so, hey, so you're doing construction and you know, like, how long have you been doing this? And we're getting to know each other. It's the same thing. It's just like, you know what? Your attitude's great, man. You do what I do anyways to motivate your troops and build houses or whatever you're doing. I mean, have you ever thought about doing the same thing but building a residual income? And then if they pause, I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. You know what? I don't know. Did you go to that class in high school or college, or like, you know, because I don't remember that class either. And when somebody taught me about it, and they taught me, I'm like, you're working in a manufacturing facility, Haskins, and like with teams of people, and you're in charge of like making the product. I was a janitor. Then I got upgraded to a manufacturing operator because it was more money. And then I found out I'm in the maintenance guys making. I was like, shit, they can do it. I can do it. You know, so it was all this stair stepping, but I was part of a team that our shift had to kick butt, right? We had to be the best shift and all this. And I'm like, I'm doing Market America anyways. I'm just not building a residual income. So I've always used that. So even if somebody's on the product and they've led me to some people, what would I say? You know what? I got to tell you this. You do what I do anyways, but I'm making all the money. Like, why don't you want to make money? Are you money adverse? I mean, you got to go see Stephanie Cook. She's an energy healer, man. I can introduce you to her. You know, but then again, you know, you just got to be able to have fun, smile at people, and let them know that I can help you. This is the biggest thing people are missing is when you're new, I get it. It's a little bit scary, but you got to get to a point of looking people in the eyes and say, I can help you. Yeah. No matter what they have going on. If they want to vacation more, I can help you with that. You know, if they want to start a missionary, I can help you with that. I mean, I can introduce you to people that have done the same thing. David and Stacy White, you know, whatever they say, I can help you with that. See, so if you can learn how to posture up and say, hey, I can help you with that, whatever it is. And the satisfied customer, when they're hot, you guys, of course you should incentivize it. Of course, I mean, any business owner on planet Earth who isn't leveraging social media at this point, my top tip there is I'm like, listen, would you do me a favor? Because if I post your testimonial, people are just going to look at me and go, okay, Cullen's just trying to sell me on whatever it is, you know. But like if you post it, and you say, hey, listen, I'm getting tremendous results. Anybody who knows me knows I've had oilable allergies. I'm getting tremendous results. Anybody who would like to learn more about this, go talk to Cullen Haskins. And, if you show him this post, he'll give you a 10% discount. Now, whether you're a traditional business owner or you're a Market America business owner, it all works the same. Traditional business owners should be doing that all day long, because now it's that person posting it versus the business owner posting their testimonial. That other way is going to work like 50 times faster organically, to grow. Okay. So when they're most excited, guys, get them to record a video, get them to do something, help them do it. If they're nervous, hey, would you mind jumping on a Zoom with me for like 2 minutes? I'll help lead it. I'm just going to moderate a little panel discussion. I just want you to share your testimonial with people. And you got to coach them what they're allowed to say and not say and what. But the bottom line is, they're going to be smiling. They're going to be happy. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, this person's changed my life. And if you want to learn more, get with them. And then all you're saying is, hey, listen, fill out a health survey, and all I'm going to do is learn a little bit about you, and I hope I can help you. Maybe we can swing your pendulum from one side to the other and get you feeling great again. And, and whatever, you just kind of plant some seeds. That's where I would go with it.
I love it, man. That's great. Well, that was awesome, man. And listen, I can't tell you how happy I am that I was at the local, because I used to use health surveys all the time, bro. Like all the time. I grew up in the business like you. Like you and I are very similar in a lot of what we do. It's kind of, a lot of people are laughing.
I got hair.
You got some hair. But the reality of it is, I used to use them all the time, and I got away from it, and now I kind of went to trial size marketing, which works too, but man, I just love that health survey. And what I love most about it is that it actually closes for you with the final question. It says, is there any reason you would not be willing to use a product that would address these concerns? So if they say, yes, there is a reason, then they're not going to buy. Or you can say, hey, why wouldn't you? But if they say no, all you're doing is taking an order at this point. So it looks like you're ready to get started. Yeah, great. Oh, I love it, dude. Great stuff.
Hey, did I share the story at the seminar about my best friend, Mike, who did the surveys too?
I don't recall.
Okay, you would know. So here's what happens. I'm new. I'm getting started. Getting rolling. Then I go to my first seminar up in Schaumburg, like 2 hours away from me, Schaumburg, Illinois. Go up to the seminar, and I had 6 guests with me at the seminar. I've been in the business like a month. I got everybody evaluating. I bought my tickets, bought 10 tickets, sold 6 of them. Okay. Brought these people with me to seminar. None of them were in yet. I followed exactly what they told. I just trusted. I said, you know what? I'm all in. I'm just going to go for this thing. And so I just loaded up my Yukon and we all went. We're sitting there, and 3 of them said, I'm doing this with or without you. I told them, I said, listen, if you can't say at the end of the day you would do this with her, I'm not saying we're bringing you in as a partner today. What I want to know is your mental commitment. Are you willing to say you would do this with or without me? Is there a reason or a purpose or a passion that you have that you want to fulfill? Yes or no? And if not, that's okay. And 3 of them said, listen, timing ain't right for me. I'll buy some of that C3PO stuff. That sounds good. And I'll be a customer. So I'm like, okay, cool. So one of the 3 that said he was going to do was my best friend, Mike. And we went back and I gave him the house survey. I said, okay, man, we're going to survey 10 people. And, out of 10, you should have 6 or 7 of them want the product. He's like, okay. So he surveys 10 people, comes back, not a week, not 7 days, like 4 days, 5 days later, comes back, knocks on my door. Hey, man, what's up? And I'm like, not much. And he's like, all right, man, I got, out of the 10 surveys, I got 7 of them that wrote me checks for the products. And now we just got to, place the order and, set up my account. I'm like, man, see, this is like unbelievable how this works and how simple it is. And so Mike was like, he says, yeah, but I don't want to do it. And I said, what? He's just like, yeah, I don't want to give up the River Road Softball League and, the bowling league on Wednesdays. Oh, and he starts naming off all the things all us men do in our early 20s to relive our youthful exuberance and superstardom and all that. So I'm like, okay, dude, well, I have kids. You don't have kids. I'm married, you're not married. I got a big reason why you don't. Not to be hurtful towards him, but I was just trying to figure this out. Like, why he's selling. And so I went and I wrote a check and I came back and I handed him a check. And as I hand him a check for $100, he goes and he's like, he grabs it and he tries to take it out of my hand and I pull it back. And he's just like, what? Well, what is this? And I was just like, well, this is a check for $100. He's like, well, you going to give it to me? And I go, I'm going to give it to you. But as soon as you take it out of my hand, you get to keep it one time. And every time they reorder, I'm cashing the check for $100. And then he went, huh? I said, yeah, Mike, that's residual income.
Yep.
And I said, are you sure that you want to pass right now? And he says, yeah. And I said, okay, give me a hug, dude. Here's $100. And we're still best friends today, Don. But here's the lesson.
You did tell that.
He was going to sell his way in with no money out of his pocket. He did the trial run exactly how JR teaches us how to do it and still chose not to do it. Does that mean Market America didn't work? No, it was working. He just didn't want to do the work, and we could still be best friends here, years later. But at the end of the day, man, some are going to do the work, and if they won't do it before they're in, they won't get some surveys done. Okay, then it's like, what makes us think because they set up their account, they're all of a sudden magically going to do some surveys? Yeah. Like, why? Best time to do it is when you're not in. I mean, come on. This is like I'm helping expand interest in some cutting. And they could even say your name. I'm helping my friend Tim expand interest in cutting edge nutraceuticals. I got to get 10 of these surveys filled out. I did this one guy recently, a guy in Texas. Somebody led to somebody personally for us, and like these people weren't in yet. And this guy in Texas, Don, here's a survey, 10 of them filled out. This is like in January, so this is pre-COVID. But he calls me back like 2 days later. He's going, all right, I got 10 surveys filled out. I go, dude, you were a machine. I was like, how did you do that so fast? And he's like, I went to the mall and I took out a clipboard and I acted like when I was one of those survey people. And I started, walking, and I go, what? That is not what I told you to do. Like, but guess what? It still worked, but the ratio wasn't as great. And here's why. Those people owe him nothing. They don't know him from Adam. See, your friends, family, coworkers, when you fill out that health survey, you have some equity. You have some trust with them, even if it's a little bit. And you're leveraging someone else's credibility, which is why it's critical, because they may know you as the maintenance guy. So how do you know nutrition, Haskins? Well, I don't, but I'm going to introduce you to Don Martin, who does. He's a guy who's coaching me. And that, we jump on a 3-way phone call. He's just going to look at your survey, and then they're like, yeah, no problem. I'd love to talk to him. And it's like, okay, cool. And then on 3-way, I'm letting Don do the talking where I'm just listening and I'm like taking notes. Or in today's world, you can record the Zoom, you can have like a voice recorder, and you can be recording the conversation. And the more I can play it back, the more I can remember what Don said, the more I didn't need Don no more. This is the way you guys got to think about it. Okay. And even if I don't need my teammates anymore, Trent and I still use our teammates all the time because, again, it's an extension of our credibility. Okay. But this is food for thought, different angles.
I love it, dude. That's awesome. And so I love the use. I love the thought of using it in the trial run too. So some of you guys that are in it right now, we've been doing some meetings the past couple of days. A lot of you are like, you're trying to get people to lead to people, but maybe they're hesitant. They don't believe enough in the business yet. They haven't been to an event. They haven't got their confidence built up. This is a great way to bridge that gap and say, hey, all right, let's test out just to see if you get 10 people to fill out these surveys and see if we can create you some customers, and maybe people that might be a little low on funds, we can buy their way in with a retail. It's awesome. Great job, Cullen, man. I love it, dude. Thank you for that. Well, listen, I don't want to occupy. Let me see. All right, I think we're good. Well,
if anybody has any questions, Don, I mean, I'll take a few more minutes, man. But if anybody
have any questions, you guys want to unmute yourself. If you have a question, go for it.
If anybody was on Saturday and has a different question, I'm cool too. I mean, I'll hang out with you guys. It's cool. Anything for Mr. Don Martin, dude.
I mean, Cullen, this is Joel Robertson. If you, for example, at church, during a coffee hour or something like that, I wanted to hand these out and collect them at the end of that. Now, I wouldn't have any of the product with me. How would you order that through your back office? Or how would you get that done?
I don't know that I would recommend when people just hand them out to people, regardless of the location. So, I mean, I get you're saying church, and so I'm going to hand these out and see what happens. It's kind of like working with a nonprofit organization with a company, right? They think that they're just going to put our link on their website and magically the parishioners are going to, buy product. And it's like, no, unless you bring me in to do a wellness event and allow me to survey people, form lines, allow me to build a relationship with these people to then move them forward in the process. So if you do hand them out, I would be more strategic in handing it out to somebody that I know they're going to fill it out right here in front of me. They're going to hand it back to me. I can look at it with them, because then it's one-to-one marketing, So I would be careful about, if I understand what you're saying. I mean, If you think people are going to walk through the assembly line and then everybody's going to grab a handout and then they're magically going to come back to me and hand it to me, I think your ratio is going to be a lot lower, is what I'm saying.
Right. But that's what I'm wondering. So you would like set it up so that you would actually bring in the product yourself and have it there, so it would be available to them.
You don't have to have it on you because you're just surveying them. Okay, so you got to be careful for it not to be a bait and switch too, right, guys? So
right. Okay.
So here, like we did a children's wellness event one time, okay, a live one, and people can invite people in, children's wellness, and it was focused 100% on children. They said, health survey for the kids, fill it out. How about your kids? What's going on? And then, but we had the product not at the front of the room, at the back of the room, and it was covered when people came in the room, so nobody could see anything. And now we just provided education for an hour. And at the end of the education, it says, hey, by the way, if anybody wants to take a look at or learn more about some of the products that I've been using and I was referencing here, come talk to one of us. And if not, that's okay. Just know that the education is all about helping our kids, helping our community. And so there was no bait and switch. But what happened is everybody went to the table. They started looking at the products. And the person who invited them went back with them, and then they got into a conversation. But nobody came up at the end and said, if the products were up front and there was this big, beautiful display, they would go, you just invited me here just to make a sale on the product. And the whole time they would have tuned you guys out. So,
right.
So same thing if I walk into church or if I walk into school, I was on the school board growing up or whatever. But if I come walking in with a couple of suitcases full of product and I go, okay, I'm here to sell everybody. That would be awkward, So you got to be a little bit careful on. It's okay to just get the survey at that point, you guys. You don't have to have the products on you at that point. Just get the information and then follow up with them. And today, with what's going on in the pandemic, just survey them, get the information, and say, I would love to set up a time for you to meet someone else. Get on a 3-way Zoom. Let someone else do the talking, even. Okay, and now the person says, well, gosh, based on what you guys just shared with me and what my health survey says, the next logical step is aloe and OPC. That makes sense. I like how you guys explained it. So I want to start on it. Now they go to the website, they order the product, and it's clean, it's simple, there's no pressure, you got to be careful. That's why the bottom of the script, once you guys see the full thing down, I'll give it to you. But I'm on there like, hey, don't mass market this. It has to be one-to-one marketed to where people know you care. Okay.
So Cullen, if I had the parish, filled 10 people fill this out, and then I take this and I take it home, and then I just follow up with a call. Now, can I talk to them about it? Offer them the isotonics and the aloe vera, the allergens, or would it be better to go through a third party? I'm sorry.
It depends how long somebody's been in the business. It depends what that person checked off on their survey. If somebody checked off on their survey that they have allergies and they want to get results on allergies, and Joel doesn't have allergies and doesn't have experience with that, but that Jason Peer does, you are crazy not to leverage Jason Peer into a 3-way Zoom. I'm just telling you, it makes zero sense for me to do that alone. So this is where, as a team, it's important to know each other's stories and backgrounds and this and that. And you're not bragging. None of you guys are bragging, but I'll tell you this, if any of you have product testimonials of any kind, you should post that tonight or tomorrow into the Facebook group that you guys all share. So just people get to know each other a little bit better and then use each other as a resource. That's huge, man. I mean, not to convince, but it's sharing a story. And people want to hear that this helps somebody else in a similar situation. And you just get to sit back because you introduced them. Hey, I'm introducing you to Jason because he had something similar going on. I thought you guys could at least compare notes on what's going on in your life. And let's see if we can't help you out. And the person says, that sounds great. And then I pass it to Jason and I sit back and let him do all the talking. And that's it. And in the end, it's like, hey, what would prevent you? Closing question, right? What would prevent you from, getting started today? And they say nothing. We go, great, let's go to the website and let's set you up. And they say, well, I'm a little short on funding right now. Okay, great. When do you think you would, have, some money to get started? And they say, well, I get paid on Friday. And say, great, well, let's hook up on Friday. I like the question of what would prevent you from getting started today.
Favorite. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I say same thing. Is there anything that would prevent you from getting started today? That's the same thing. I love it. It's my favorite.
So good. That's it.
Thank you, Cullen.
You got it, Joel.
If you're meeting with somebody or to do the survey, or they got you the survey and you're giving them a call back or whatever, and they just know they want a product, oh, hey, you got something for this? You're like, but they're like technology challenged, you can just go into the back office and drop ship it to them, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, of course you can, but
for like, because I think Joel was more like, I don't have a whole lot of inventory to take to the parish.
no, I mean,
Right?
you can do it that way. The key to it is this. If somebody checks off no boxes on their health survey, and then they say, hey, you know what, but I do take a multivitamin, I do take a calcium, I do, and you just transfer dollars from GNC to Cullen, right? Fantastic, okay? But if they check off any boxes and then they're trying to tell you what they want to take, I don't let that happen. I say, hey, listen, here's the deal. If you want to get the results on what you checked off specifically, I've got a wellness protocol that I put people on that, produces the results. And so, are you open to this protocol? And they say, no, I'd want to do it this way. And I'd say, okay, well, listen, I'm not willing to hope that you're the first person in the history of the company that gets to work your way. So how about we just part ways at this point? You let me know when you're ready to feel better, and I'll be here for you. I mean, at some point, you guys, on some people, and the same thing with the business, by the way, sometimes you just got to posture up a little bit. Don't be rude, smile, and say, listen, I know what's going to produce the results and start swinging this pendulum. And so therefore, and whether you're brand new, I know because of the people I've met. And if you've been doing this a while, I know from personal testimonies we've developed. Either way, I know because of the people we've helped. So therefore, Aloe OPC, Aloe Daily Essential Kit. And it's just like, well, I just want one bottle of OPC and let's see if it works. Not willing to do it. You didn't get the ailment in 2 weeks, so you shouldn't expect results in 2 weeks. You should expect results in 90 days, like everybody else that I've helped. So manage. So it's funny when you pull it away, you start to recognize who really wants it, just like the business, or you recognize who's going to come up with an objection a week into it and say this, crap ain't working. And now you're frustrated going, well, gosh, it didn't work like Cullen just told me. And now the person wants a refund and they're, and it's like, you promised them something based on not what I said. You're trying to make them a promise on something that's going to work because they pigeonholed you into the corner. So who's the leader? They're the leader, and yet they don't even know what they're leading. So be careful on that. That's what I would say to that.
Some people are really really busy, and maybe don't want to meet. I'd prefer they meet with one of my senior partners because I'm very new. But a lot of people are busy, really busy, and they can't.
My experience there, Cheryl. My experience there is we're going to change their life. They're not that busy. So here's my advice. Don't give any energy to that because you think people are busy. I'm telling you, they're not that busy, especially when you get them to fill out a health survey and they check off a box. And then you say, with my connections, I'm going to be able to introduce you to somebody to help you. Guess what? Their schedule will free up very quick. So don't give any energy to the fact that people are that busy. Life's all about priorities. Okay. So be careful on energy. You guys know this from my training that we're there Saturday. Everything's energy. So don't give energy and put energy in places that it doesn't exist because that's your energy. Okay. So just be careful there. That's all I'm saying. They'll meet with you. They'll do it.
That's a point I'm working on. But
there you go.
But the protocol is always those two, one of those two things.
99.9% of the time. Yeah.
Because that was the thing I asked, like, what's the products?
Yeah, the product is belief and blessing and knowing that I got a huge heart and I'm going to change your life forever. That's the product.
And Aloe and OPC and Aloe and Daily Essentials cover 95% of everything.
That's right. Because everybody has digestion and elimination issues, guys. That's the bottom line. You won't believe when you start asking people some questions. It's like, you pooping regularly? No, yeah, I'm pooping here and there. I'm like, all right, man. Wait, what's regular to you? What's regular to one person isn't regular to another. It's like, how often are you pooping? They're like, well, every 3 days. I'm like, and that's regular? I'm like, dude, I poop like 4 times a day, bro. Like, I mean, something's wrong with you. Like, let's go, man. So this is what makes it fun.
A bunch of medications. If you're on a bunch of pharmaceuticals, once a week is.
Well, that's it. That's what you're that's where you're gonna help them. That's why that aloe juice is crucial, because within a few days,
right.
you notice a difference. And then once they know aloe's working, aloe starts working, they feel the difference. Now they believe you. Now they trust the process more. And because it was working on their digestion, absorption goes up on the OPC or Daily Essential Kit. See, that's why it's a 1-2 punch, man.
Right.
And that's why, even though we've got, 50 or 60 different supplements, you don't need to know about all of them. Just keep this thing simple, guys, and leverage the team for in addition to items. Okay.
Love it.
That's
Love
good
it.
advice.
Thank you, Colin. Man. Well, listen, this has been awesome. So good. Much appreciated.